Brother Owens. This is Brother Sakim Muhammad, and we was just going on. He was putting down the knowledge of the court case, here on Key Life Productions. And you wanted to ask a question, or you wanted to say something or converse?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm here to listen to the brother Sakim Muhammad, because the brother is very he's very informative when it comes to right knowledge dealing with the case, dealing with Dr. Malachi Z York, and what he bringing to the forefront of what people really need to know about what this man have to say, because this is very important for all nations all over to know what really took place, or what this man about to say out his mouth about the case on Dr. Malachi Z York.
Right.
Well, thank you. I try to keep abreast and to keep up with what took place during the trial and the legal issues and the terminologies and such, because if you're going to be out here and attempt to defend Dr. Malachi Z York, you have to know the case, and you have to know the legal issues of the case, because trying to come at people with, he's a nice guy, he wouldn't do nothing like that, but that doesn't mean nothing to nobody. But when you start saying, well, for instance, the jury pool in the Macon Division of Middle District of Georgia in the Atlanta media market and in the Macon media markets are tainted. 2, that the court on October the 28th, 2003 acknowledged and judicially recognized the fact that these aforementioned areas were tainted per its change of venue order dated October the 28th, 2003, docket number 146. 3, the grand jury for the superseding indictment issued on November the 21st, 2003 was after the court had already issued its change of venue order and the government was given notice of this order. That the grand jury for the superseding indictment was selected from the judicially recognized tainted jury pool in the Macon Division of the Middle District of Georgia. That the venue had been changed by the court and the government did not seek and did not have special permission from the court to go and select any type of jury, grand or trial, from this previously judicially recognized tainted jury pool. See, a lot of people don't realize that the government had declared that the jury pool was tainted, but they still picked the jurors from that same tainted jury pool.
Yeah. Man, that's a mess. And well, if I guess it's I guess you put everything down that you have to put. There's no questions that I can see, but I could let y'all close out, or you want to go into something else.
I mean, yeah, we can be universal, brother.
Yeah.
We can swing back and forth from talking about whatever we need to talk about from the case, all the way before the case, after the case, what's going on now with the Nuwapians and the Nuwapians, with the P and the B, or just the literature period being changed up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The double cross, we can go into all of that. Even why people think, or, why, people think Dr. Malachi Z York is locked up, while some people think that he's not. We can go into that and go into conclusions of facts.
What I would like to do on those particular issues is keep this particular interview strictly about him not receiving a fair trial, because you have people that are, we'll say, mainly interested in the case. Then you got other people that are interested in the doctrine and the information Dr. Malachi was putting out, whether that's true or false or whatever the case may be, whether they believe it or don't believe it or whatever. And I want to keep this particular interview strictly about his legal issues, and did he receive a fair trial? Because if we take it and start talking about other things, then as people are listening to it, it's going to take their mind off of, did he receive a fair trial or not?
Yeah.
Now, we can do another interview at another day and time and talk about the doctrine and all of that. I'm cool with that.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as this is concerned, I strictly want to stick with the conspiracy to destroy Dr. Malachi Z York.
Right.
No DNA evidence, no videotape evidence, no picture evidence. Sentenced to 135 years. The trial transcripts were sealed. 8 alleged victims say they were never molested. The government's key witnesses' testimony was blocked. Moved to the most secure prison in the United States. Excuse me.
Well, I want to, the reason why I say that we can talk about anything, and I agree with the brother, Sakim Muhammad, on keeping it, in a broad prospect, so certain people won't get reeled off to go into other things and get lost when we dealing with a main topic. But that main topic have so much within it that we can go 76 trillion years, and a lot of people can get lost within that who do not have to the capacity of even trying to get what we're trying to give them, because they haven't studied. A lot of them maybe have not studied this stuff that we study, as far as, you know, have we study or have experience and stuff like that. So we don't want to like take it so far out and lose them. So the reason why I say I want to bring up also the teachings with it, because the teaching is a part of what's going on with Dr. Malachi Z York right now, or so-called what's going on with Dr. Malachi Z York, who is known as Marduk. Because if we go back to the tablets will tell you Marduk was placed inside of the pyramid. He was placed inside of the pyramid, but he came up out of the pyramid. See, the stories of these events was already told, and it was foreplayed. And did not Marduk got placed inside of the pyramid, and the pyramid was filled, and they buried him.
Right, but see, you know what you're doing there? When you start going that issue with this particular case, for a lot of people, that's spookism. I don't care what we know in our doctrine and what we read in our books and stuff. For a lot of people, that's straight up spookism. Mm-hmm. So that's not going to be sufficient in dealing with the fact that he's in ADX Florence, Colorado, doing 135 years in a super maximum security prison. And did he receive a fair trial in the first place? Because when you want to take this to, let's say, for instance, there's a lot of cases where people have done 25, 30 years in prison. Then it was found out later that they didn't receive a fair trial or some issue along that line, that they were innocent the whole time and such. And we want to keep it on that legal level so that when this is presented to a let's say, legal organization that fights for people that were wrongly convicted.
Right. But
I don't think I want to go there talking about Murdoch was locked in a cement cell and he still got out.
But no, this is the thing, brother Sakim Muhammad. I don't care what nobody else believes. I don't care how they take my family story and the events that actually happened and took place from back then to now, because everything is a recycle. Everything plays out and come back and goes in the same form. Just like we have the 2 moon cycles and 2 sun cycles that keep having cycles. We have winter, spring, fall every year, right? It keep coming around. Just like we keep having babies and people die out, people come in. Okay, these stories was already foretold. That's what I'm trying to, bring to the forefront to the people who have the right.
But what I'm saying is, there's nothing wrong with talking about that, but this is not the forum for it. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I want to keep it strictly on what took place in that courtroom.
I see what
and
you're
did
saying.
he receive a fair trial? Now, we can do another show where we're talking about the doctrine and all of that other stuff. I'm very cool with that. But this particular issue, I want to keep it strictly on the Dr. Malachi Z York receive a fair trial, and why is he sitting in prison doing 135 years in the worst prison in the United States of America now? Because don't forget, part of our doctrine that we have to deal with now.
Yeah, let me ask you something right that's going on, you know, pretty much right now. And we talked about this offline before. Victoria Brashad, the situation with the lawyer system now.
Hey, excuse me, bro. Before you continue, can you bring somebody else in? Can you bring Nuwapian in?
I don't know.
Would it be okay?
I mean, it's two people on here now. I don't even know.
Oh, you don't know if you can bring another? Okay.
I
just want to bring more people in.
It might do a three-way. I don't know, but I wanted to that would be up to Brother Sakim.
Yes, if I'll put it this way: if you want to get people in and they want to talk about the case and such, absolutely no problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We want to all hear about this case and all talk about this case, because you got people that are Anshar that I'm bringing in here who's on the pound. On the land, I mean, with Dr. Malachi Z York, Dr. Malachi Z York had things made by Dr. Malachi Z York, has direct spoken words from Dr. just only from these beings to Dr. Malachi Z York. Dr. Malachi Z York has a galactical sister that's here on this planet as well. I don't know if a lot of people know about that.
Well, as long as Brother Sakim is cool with it, I'll see if this can handle 3 people.
Okay.
Sure. No problem.
Just give it a number, tell her to call.
You know, the only thing
can you text it to her?
That we don't all be trying to talk over each other.
Right.
We're gonna
if one person is speaking, let them speak till they finish what they gotta say. Then I'll respond.
Right.
Because if it gets to everybody trying to talk over each other, I can tell you straight up and down, I will not participate in that.
Right. So can you can you text her the number, or is she watching, or do you know exactly where she is?
Who are you talking to?
Talking to Brother Owens.
Yeah, I'm trying to give it to her now. Let me see. I'm gonna tell her to call. Hold up. But y'all could be talking, but I want to take this number down right quick, and I'm gonna text it to her and tell her to call in.
Right, because she, like I said before.
All right, what the number is? I'm sorry about that. What the number is, brother?
267.
All right, hold on. 267
506
okay.
0736. Some static.
0736?
Yeah. Some static.
Okay, let me run it back. So you got 267 506 0732, right?
0736. You got static?
Static? What you mean static?
I hear static.
Yeah, I can hear it. That little humming noise. Yeah. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, that's me with the headphones. So
okay. All right.
All right, now you can see now? That's better?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let me cut this up. All right, that's better. So let me give her and tell her to call. Okay, you say 267 506 0736.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, but you can continue though with the broadcast though, or what the brother want to say.
Hello.
On Dr. Malachi Z York though, she can come in and hear, because I think she's gonna sit back and listen just like me though, because we don't want to
Well, if she don't want to say nothing, just tell her, hit her on YouTube, Key Life Productions. If she want to say something, tell her to come on in. But if she just want to sit back and look, it's right on live right now on it, But I mean, that's up to you. I'll see if it can handle 3 people.
All right.
And she might have some input.
Well, she said 1 minute. She checking something.
Okay, well, let me read something else to you. So, a few more issues pertaining to this case.
Yes.
In the meantime, the district court erred by denying the appellant's motion to dismiss Count 2 racketeering, Act 3, and Count 6, essentially ruling that the government could base a federal violation on a Georgia crime which was no crime at all at the time of its alleged commission. The appellee decided on appeal to change its theory of the case. In accord with the indictment, the government alleged that the appellant had violated Georgia law. On appeal, the appellee now argued that it was insufficient that his intent was to violate Georgia law, although at the time of the criminal offense alleged, it was impossible to do so.
She calling in now.
If the alleged victim was not under aid.
Hello?
Hey, what's up?
Peace, Goddess.
How are you?
This brother Sakim, brother Owen said you wanted to come in, so I wanted to see if it can handle 3 people, so I'm about to see if I can merge you in. Okay.
And that?
Hello?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Goddess?
Yes.
Yeah. Brother Owens?
Yes, I'm still here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, yeah, we all in. This is the Goddess here. What's your name? Okay.
Peace and blessings, Goddess. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. I'm holding on to the rope, as we say.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Brother Sakim. When I saw a number come up, I just tried to get in real quick. So
it's all good.
So you was reading something?
Yes, because see, what a lot of people don't realize, there's a lot of issues going on with Dr. York's case and how the trial was handled and various laws that were violated in trying to get this conviction, which had a lot to do with why they had an anonymous jury, closed the courtroom from the public, and then sealed the trial transcripts. And the transcripts were sealed for a couple of years before they finally let them out to the public. But by the time they let them out to the public, so much of the transcripts was blacked out, it really wasn't even worth reading. Because 80% of the transcripts was blacked out.
Right.
So the real wonder is what was being said in the parts that were blacked out that they didn't want the public to see.
Exactly.
Could it have been statements and such that proved Malachi was innocent?
Mm-hmm. More than likely.
Because if not, why black it out?
Exactly.
Why the closed courtroom if you have an open and shut case? Now, when it does, I'm going to say this here pertaining to the alleged sexual issues. What that boils down to is you have he say, she say. Because there is no DNA evidence and there is no videotape evidence or no picture evidence. So you have some people who were adults. Let me say once again for the public, there were no children who got on the witness stand and testified against Dr. Malachi Z York that he did anything to them sexually. These were adults who claimed these things happened when they were children. So what you're left with now is their word against Malachi's word. And if people people say, well, then why did he plea bargain? According to him, he was tortured into the plea bargain.
Hmm.
And like I said earlier, who are you or I to say that he wasn't tortured? How many black people have been tortured in police custody before?
Yeah.
I mean, look at the condition of Dr. York when you watch that video where he's in the orange federal prison jumpsuit.
Yeah, he looked like he was, man, looked like he went through something.
Now, if everyone knows, Dr. York was a very clean, neat, immaculate, well-kept man.
Yeah.
When you looked at him in that video, he looked like he was beat down, not beat down like with a black eye, but beat down like the way they have treated me and mistreated me and such. I almost can't take it no more.
Mm-hmm.
He looked like a defeated person at that point. So, and people should listen to, if they can get a chance to listen to them. There's a series of interviews that Dr. Malachi Z York did. I think he was still in Jones County Prison or Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. I'm not sure which one they came from, where he's being questioned on exactly what was happening with the case and as to his innocence or guilt. He's being asked directly right there. And one of the things he said was, no, he wasn't guilty of the nonsense they were accusing him of. And he said, see, the main thing, he said, what they want to stop the doctrine I'm teaching and what I'm doing. That was the main thing. Why do you think they had to destroy Tamaray?
Yeah.
Why bulldoze the land to the ground? You got the man locked up.
Yeah. Man, I thought of that 100 times. If that's all they wanted was him, why they destroy the place?
Because they knew what that land was for. Or better yet, what those monuments were for, what the Mugaraj was for, what the drum ceremonies were for, because they're reading the same books me and you are. And don't forget, in those books he explained what the purpose of everything that was built on the land was for. So they know. So they're like, we can't even, it's not so much him not being there, because he left instructions in the books on how to do the rituals. So it wasn't necessary for him to be there. And they knew as long as those monuments and stuff were standing, people would still come to that land.
Yeah.
So it's like we must destroy the monuments and everything that it represents, because people are still going to keep coming, whether Malachi is here or not. Just like they keep coming to the pyramids in Egypt, and the people who built them been long gone. So the thing was, now from what I understand from people I know that live down in Georgia, they haven't done nothing with the land since.
Right.
So it wasn't like they wanted to destroy the land and build a housing complex, a low-income housing or something like that on it. They just wanted to destroy it so that we as Black Nubian people can't have nothing that represents us in unity.
Right.
And getting back to our culture and getting back to our way of life. They can't have that.
Yeah.
That's why they had to destroy Black Wall Street, for instance. The Black people were too prosperous.
Yeah.
And were doing better than a whole lot of crackers were back in that era of time.
Uh-huh. And excuse me, you know something else? A lot of people I don't think know about what happened with Black Wall Street after they got them all. To my knowledge, they said on this land, again, unless the material they used to build is fireproof, something like that. And after they destroyed everything and everybody had no money and they, you know, everything was all broken up, you know, there's no money to buy anything that fireproof. It didn't even make sense. Like, I mean, this is what I'm hearing. Now, correct me if I'm wrong.
But here's the whole catch. They wasn't going to let no Black Nubian people do anything like that, period, if they can avoid it.
Yeah.
I would like to think when Dr. York purchased that land, they didn't really know what he was going to do with it. Because otherwise, I don't think they would have sold it to him.
Right.
But sister, do you have any questions or anything?
I would like to add some stuff to what you're saying. From my understanding, the land wasn't in his name; it was in 3 other people's names, and I forgot their names. And I have to look it up, and I can tell you. Secondly, Dr. Malachi Z York is not locked up, and he wasn't locked up. That's a clone, and I will tell you why. I was with his galactical sister in 1999. The last ball, Asher was standing right behind me, and he asked us not to cry because he had to leave. His 30 years was up, and he had to leave. At 11:59, he actually left. It was cloudy outside. He said whenever there's something going on, they don't want you to see, it's a thick fog. The fog was so thick that you couldn't see any stop signs before you even got to them. We all went into a trance. I was driving. It was her in the back seat and another brother with me. We all kept going into trances. I couldn't tell you how we got home. We just managed to get home. But Baba left that night. From 2000 on up, those have been cloned. I happened to meet a brother about 2 years ago, and he lives in New York, and he told me that he had a chance to get into the prison. He said he didn't know how he managed to get in, but he got in, okay? He said, "Sister, I don't have no reason to lie to you or tell you any lies." He said, but the brother that's locked up said that I'm part of a big conspiracy. He said, I haven't told anybody this, but I'm going to tell you this. He said that I am from Ghana and your teacher's from Sudan. He said, I'm part of a big conspiracy. He said, I'm tired of living this lie. Now, mind you, the clones have the same ability that Baba has and can foresee things, do the exact same thing that Baba does. So when I tell people that you can't confine, if you were ever in Om or anything like that, you cannot confine 720 degrees of right knowledge. Okay? And I was there when Baba left. He told us to be still. We were not allowed to move, and he left. Okay? So all this going on. Go ahead.
Okay, now, you know what? I have no problem with what you said. You know why? See, I still have stacks and stacks of my old scrolls, right? In the Ansar days and stuff. And if you've been around, there was some scroll that was written called The Man of Miracles in This Day and Time.
Right.
Parts 1 and 2. I've been in this organization for 38 years. So I'm 55 now. And the thing is, whether it's a clone in there, whether it's really Malachi in there, to see what I find with certain people is, I talk to people say they don't believe Dr. York was ever in jail, period. So you can't even discuss a legal case with them because they don't believe he ever was in there, period. But then what I find is, let's say he's not in there. Let's say that is a clone. What does that got to do with doing anything to try to at least help clear or clean up the man's reputation? Because as far as the public is concerned, with a lot of he's a child molester, he's this,
I agree
he's
with that.
that.
I definitely agree with that.
So
I agree with that.
What a lot of people don't do, they don't even take that into account of how, and I mean, I know with some people, their mind is already made up, but with other people, they're not that closed-minded. So the thing for us to do, at least, is try to help clear his reputation. Because if you notice, I never said anything I'm saying will free him. I question, did he receive a fair trial? Now, personally, I haven't seen Dr. Malachi Z York in over 16 years. But my thing is, I do know plenty of people who dealt with him directly during the trial and this, that, and the other. I used to speak to Adrian Patrick every day. I know Malik Shabazz personally. I knew Brother Bundy and various other people that I was in contact with that was involved with the trial and that were dealing with the attorneys and the trial and the lawyers. So the bottom line is somebody's in there, and the bottom line is that his reputation is still being ruined by people like Chuck Morgan and other idiots like that.
Nupu.
So at the least, we owe him to at least try to clear the man's reputation. To at least present to the public.
I agree with you on that. I never said that we shouldn't clear this. I just want to make it clear to everyone about the lives of people. They're swindling people out of their money. Baba told us in the 90s as well. He said, if you didn't hear me say it, don't believe it. And just like I was telling James earlier today, I said Vincent has saying that he wrote all these books. But Baba told us a long time ago, he said that there's going to be a time when they will be making cartoon characters of him saying that he wrote books that he did not write. Okay? Now,
exactly. He said that in the 9-ball.
Exactly. And he said that, and like I told James, I said, if he wrote those books, I said, why are they not using his original picture in those books? I said, the reason why, I said, because of plagiarism, and they can go to prison for that. It's
even deeper than that. It ain't just so much the plagiarism. It's because, okay, I'm going to drop a serious bomb on you since we done went here. I want you to think about this. In the prison he's in, let's just say for right now he's in there, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now, in that particular prison, anyone who's been to prison knows, when you're in a regular prison, not ADX Florence, Colorado, when you're in a regular prison, when you get your mail, they open your mail in front of you, shake out the contents. If someone sent you a money order, cash or whatever, they put it in your commissary, give you a receipt for it. They'll look at your letter to see, mainly they're looking for to see if there's stains on it. Because people have slipped in drugs, like say a gravy stain, it might be laced with acid or something like that, right? Now that's what they're looking for. They will not read your letter. But in the prison he's in, ADX Florence, they do read your mail. They read your mail before you get it as the inmate. Now, that means if somebody's saying something or whatever to Dr. York that they don't want him to hear or see, all they do is throw it in the paper shredder. Or, I don't know if you on Facebook or not, but a few days ago I put up a question about people who tried to write letters to Dr. York and what happened. About 10, 11 people responded. Every person said they either called the prison to see how to go about the process, and they were told he doesn't have writing privileges, or the mail was just sent back to them.
It was sent back to me.
But sent back.
It was sent back to me.
Now check this out where I'm going with this. Now, when Dr. York goes to send out a letter, because of the prison he's in, they read his mail before they send it out. Now, that means whatever is being sent out, let's go with the people who are writing these parts and actual facts, and they're saying the letter's coming from Dr. York is writing these letters from prison. What that means is whatever they got in them books is controlled by the government. It's what the government wants you to know.
Right.
Because they're deciding what mail of his goes out and what don't. Now, to him, let's say he writes the letter, gives it to them, and as far as he's concerned, it went out. Because they're not going to give it back to him. They're going to decide, hey, this information they should not have. Write in the paper shredder or give it to the government agent or whoever because of who he is. See, they know who he is just as much as we know who he is.
And then you got go ahead, brother, go ahead.
So when you read those parts of racks and actual facts, all that shit is government controlled. Why do you think? Notice this, when Dr. York was not incarcerated before May 8, 2002, was there any issue amongst us and even people who weren't Nuwapians that those books were written by Dr. York? No. There was no doubt about it at all. Why all the doubt now? Why is it that some people read those books and feel no DNA explosion? Scroll number 80, man, from the planet Riz. That said you were genetically pre-encoded to wake up when you saw his writings, his voice, his picture, and this, that, and the other. Why are some people not feeling that period? I'll tell you why, but that's not Dr. York right writing the stuff. It's not his style. Dr. Malachi Z York is a different person from Dr. Malachi Z York. Look at the picture.
Mm-hmm.
That's not him in those drawings. He wasn't born in Takoradi, Ghana. Dr. Malachi Z York always said I was born in Umdurman, Sudan, Africa.
That's right.
June 26, 1945, 12 o'clock midnight. Now, so what they're doing, they're changing his appearance.
Yeah.
They're changing where he was born. They're changing his style of writing. They're not Nuwapians or Nuwapu. They done changed it to Wu Nuwap. They done put it backwards.
Yeah.
Right.
They then changed the script, which obviously changed the tones. Everything he was saying, they're saying now, Anu is a flesh eater and he's going to come down and eat you for dinner and all this kind of nonsense. He not Baba, he's bad, like a damn sheep. He's Yananan, not Yanoon, he's Yananan. Now, to me, that tells me, I don't mean to laugh.
It's pitiful.
I don't mean to laugh, but that tells me they done created a whole new person and a whole new doctrine. But you remember Dr. York said, coming forth to you from the Holy Tabernacle Ministries for the rebirth of the elite few 144,000. Remember how he used to point out, if it were possible, they would fool even the very elite.
Yes. Yes.
I consider myself to be amongst that elite few. I lived in Ansarullah. I didn't just go visit for class. I lived in the community for years. And plenty of people will verify this. So I'm not going to be fooled.
Definitely.
I'm going to question, because he said, don't believe me, check it out. They get mad when you say you don't believe them and you want to check it out. But then you see the little video where Dr. York is supporting the Patriarchs. Now, would they have played it if Dr. York wasn't supporting the Patriarchs, or that voice that don't quite sound like Dr. York to me?
Yeah.
That's why
You must have been the same place I was.
And that's why, excuse me, and that's why I had, like, specifically, I put a video out there that was taught by Dr. Malachi Z York students that say were there 9 and news. And the person that's speaking in this video sound exactly like Doc. But the only reason you know that's not Malachi Z York is because the guy cursing too much. Dr. Malachi Z York don't do that much cursing. And the dude, he got the voice, the charisma as Dr. Malachi Z York and everything. So they can't fool nobody, like, and not a real Nuwapian anyway, because they say, can you fool a Nuwapian? No, you cannot fool a Nuwapian. So
nowadays,
they got like that rigged up stuff they got saying Dr. Malachi, because that video is contradicting a lot of stuff he taught. Oh, I got books.
Those books are contradicting everything. Those books are contradicting everything he taught before May 8th, 2002.
Absolutely.
That's why I can't tune into them. They're changing. Check this out. They got Dr. Malachi Z York drawn with a Russian communist mustache.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, Dr. York taught us back in the day, that I still wear my beard this way to this very day, what was called the Midian trim. And that related you to certain tribe, to the tribe of Midian. Because there was a science to why he wore the beard shaped the way it was and cut out the way it was. It was
well back. We got Mookie on Valentino in here.
Okay, in the chat room.
Rahul back, my brother Mookie.
Wait, he's in it?
Yeah, I brought him in.
Okay. I seen him in the chat room. And Brother Kingdom L's out there too.
Now here's the catch. I know a lot of people are going to be mad when they hear this. They might not be mad about the legal part. And as a matter of fact, what had Broussard and all of them been saying, let's say over the last month or two, that they're doing legally to try to free Dr. York, or at least get him out of that prison into a less restrictive prison? or out of solitary confinement, which they say he's been in for the last 10 years. You see what I'm saying? Excuse me. They have made this into a cash cow.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many people have made money off of Dr. Malachi Z York's case?
Yes.
From attorneys on down. People talk about I need to go to Liberia to make I need $5,000 or $10,000 to do it, and they go.
Yeah.
Because they're going on a vacation. They just left the word vacation out. Will you pay for my vacation to go to Liberia? Because they ain't doing nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
How many years have we been hearing Dr. York will be out soon?
Yep.
17 years?
Yeah.
And every time we hear it, it's some scheme that ain't gonna work. You know how I know it ain't gonna work? Because it hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you want to go to the President of the United States for clemency when the President of the United States cannot grant clemency for a state case?
If he wanted to.
No, even if he wanted to, he can't.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what
he doesn't have that executive power.
That's what I said.
The governor of the state you were convicted in has to grant that clemency.
And he don't give a shit to anyway.
But my point is how these ideas are pitched to people and they don't even go do research on how the law works and if this could possibly even work. They talk about Dr. Malachi Z York getting a pardon. People don't realize you can't get a full pardon, and that ain't got to come from the president. A pardon is when they expunge your criminal history off the record. And you can go right on Google. You can Google pardon, and it will clearly tell you you cannot get a full pardon and get your record expunged until you've been out of prison for 5 years. So that would mean Dr. Malachi Z York wouldn't qualify for a pardon until 124 years from now. But people don't go do research. Doc said, don't believe me, check it out.
Yeah.
They were talking about Amun-Ra and with a different entity than Anu, that Anu, the one that Dr. Malachi Z York introduced to us in the tablets and all of that, pictures in I don't know how many books. It's not the Most High anymore, that Amun-Ra is. Now, I was listening to Christianity in Egypt the other night, and Dr. York, and he said it about 7 to 8 different 9 times as he was talking back and forth this Q&A with his sister, that the Amun-Ra of Egypt is Anu in Sumeria, that they are the same being. He said that's why in Egypt they acknowledged Anu. That's why they had Heliopolis, which means the city of Anu. How can I have a city of Anu and I don't acknowledge Anu?
Right.
But yeah, I had people say, no, that's not what he really means. He's saying it out his own mouth, but then the person told me, well, I got the update from Mario Jessup. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm asking you to listen to a CD with Dr. York talking out his own mouth, and you telling me about a letter you got from Mario Jessup? Who is your Most High? Not who is your Most High, but who is your spiritual guide now? Mario Jessup or Dr. Malachi Z York? Then he put on the, that little 2 or 3 minute clip with that voice that sound like Dr. York saying, I approve of the Patriarchs and Actual Facts.
Man.
That was his response to me.
Oh, that crap.
What he never said was he went and listened to that Christianity in Egypt, where Dr. York is explaining explicitly and goes very deep into it. I would advise you all to listen to it too. It's right on YouTube. Matter of fact, when I posted it, I posted the audio with the questions, so they couldn't say they didn't have the CD or nothing. I posted it with the question. So these people don't realize they are back under another spell.
Yeah, exactly. Excuse me.
They are religious again.
Yep.
Some of them will tell you, I won't even speak to you if you don't read Patriarchs and Actual Facts.
Yeah.
Damn, even the Jehovah Witnesses will speak to you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you ain't got to be a Jehovah Witness. These people are saying, I will not, I don't even want to talk to you.
I had people.
If you're not into Patriarchs and Actual Facts.
That's how bad it have got.
I had people tell me.
And it's just that serious, you know, because souls are at stake. And this right knowledge that we have, they reversing it. And we the only one can combat them. We the only one can go to war. All the outsiders like Hebrew Israelites, Christianity, the Muslims and all, and the Masonic lodges, they over all of them. We over all of them. And we the only one can fight them because we have the right knowledge to go against wrong knowledge that trying to disguise itself as right knowledge.
Well, see, notice they don't do this. If you look at a lot of my posts, I'll post the actual book. I'll post the actual pages from the books. They don't do that with those Patriarchs because it's a money thing. They're trying to make money. I do it and I don't charge nobody a dime. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. But you can always go on my page on Facebook and pull up my name and get all the stuff I done posted up.
Excuse me. I didn't mean to cut you off. There's another brother was trying to call in. I think you mentioned him, Mookie, that was in the chat room.
I see the number, yeah. That's Mookie, Valentino.
Yeah, so if you still watching, I guess go ahead and call in and I'll see if the phone can handle it. But until he does, well, what was you saying? In fact, I had Nuwapians, so-called Nuwapians, come up and tell me that if I didn't, that Pops want everybody to join the lodge, and if I don't join the lodge, he will not know me when he come out. And I'm looking at him like, what the hell? Like, all you did was replace Jesus with Dr. York. Like,
well, some of them do worship Dr. York.
Yeah.
Damn near.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know that they're talking less and less about whatever they're calling the Most High and more about Dr. York.
Yeah.
Dr. York is Melchizedek. Melchizedek is the high priest of the Most High. He's the highest of all the angelic beings. He is not the Most High. I was reading in my tablets where it was saying how Samuel thought he wanted to take over and sit in the position of the Most High. And the way it's written is Anu responding. And Anu was like, that couldn't happen. Just the very thought of that was a disagreeable thought. He said, not even Melchizedek, my grandson, is my equal. That's why Melchizedek means he who died. Every school Dr. York took us through, no matter what name he was calling the Most High, Allah, Anu, God, Yahweh, whatever, it was all about giving praise and gratitude to the Most High. Every single tape you listen to of Malachi, he's about giving praise to the Most High. Mm-hmm. Up until the day he was arrested, it was the same thing. Now, they're coming along saying, Anu ain't the Most High no more. He's going to come down and eat you for dinner. And all of this crazy nonsense.
They get that stuff from Caucasian people. That's that Caucasian. They be talking. If you go on their website, that's the stuff that they be saying. That's where they getting all that false information from. And see, me, Baba always said the Anunnaki only come to those who are sincere. From day one, me walking into the information, I've been in contact with the Ethereans, the Anunnaki, Melchizedek, Yanun, Natil Apatiatum Ray. I met with him on the Golden City. Like I said, my experiences have been real, And when Wunuwap first came out, the Anunnaki came and sat with me and told me that they said don't listen to them because they're liars. Stay away from them. And that was the exact, words to me. You know what I'm saying? In 2010, I seen Baba on the astral plane, and he said, "Tell them niggas to stop lying on me." And that was his exact words. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that takes you back to when you go back to the scroll, the 9 ball. There's a part in there where Doc says there's going to come a time that there won't be a physical organization like Ansarullah or Tamaray, and you'll have to stand on your own square. Meaning you'll have to take the information you know, and as you know, the Most High is within you, and you'll have to stand on that as to where you stand, because these people are coming up with a whole new doctrine. What is a Ankh Tweet? Look like a double cross.
Hey,
double cross. That word don't sound too cool.
It be a double cross.
Me and brother Sakim, man, I went in on that, man, on that double Ankh, and I broke it down because the bottom part of the Ankh is a top, and the top part is a shim. You know what I'm saying? So when you put two tar together, man, that's the double cross. You don't see nowhere on the land where you had a double cross. And then you got these Nuwapian brothers trying to say that the hand where is going towards the sun with the cross at the bottom, and the hand is holding the sun up. They saying that's a cross, and that's where they get the double cross from. And then they go
to listen to the word though. Just listen to the word. Baba always said listen to the word. Double cross.
Yeah, double cross.
Yeah, double cross.
You stab me in the back.
Or they'll say the double. But the Ankh is a cross. And a lot of people, and that's what I want to clear up too. A lot of people say the Ankh and the cross is something different. And a way it is, but when you go back to the original, everything comes, from the Egyptian and the Sumerian, or the Taurites. You know what I'm saying? Or the Sand people, or the Puthites, or whatever you want to call these people. Shapshu for the Sumerians. Now, that's why it's so important for people to know about the bloodline, and the reason why the main reason Dr. Malachi Z York got all of this resource and put it together is for the children of the Anunnakis to know who they are themselves and where they come from. That was his whole purpose, to educate the children of the Anunnaki. And
right, but you know what though? He already said that in scroll number 80, Man from the Planet Riz, that those beings it was already genetically pre-encoded in them to wake up. At the sound of his voice, at hearing his picture, at reading his works, it was already encoded in our DNA to wake up. That's why some people, you remember in the Islamic degree, he taught that some people were Sumun, Umun, and Bukmun, deaf, dumb, and blind. Their spiritual inner hearing and seeing and perception is sealed. So you could bring 1,000 books to them and explain it 1,000 different ways. And at the end of the conversation, they'll say, I don't get it. Whereas a person like me and you barely read half a page of a book and was like, I'm with this. Looked at his picture. Damn, he looks like a black Jesus. I remember the first time I read a scroll, a voice came in my head as clear as we're talking on this phone right now that said, that's him. That's the man you're looking for. That was 38 years ago. I'd ride in the number 4 train in New York. I was 17 years old. And I was like, that's him. That's the man I'm looking for. Yeah. But I really didn't even know I was looking for nobody. I read the whole book backwards because the books were written from right to left back then. I was still reading from left to right, part of the spell. I read the whole book backwards and it still made sense. It just seemed like it was kind of out of order. But everything I was reading made sense. So, that's so when you can read a book backwards and it still makes sense. So, these people are creating a whole new identity so that when these Wu Nuwaps see Malachi, the real Malachi, they're going to say to him, who are you? Well, I'm Dr. York. Or where's your handlebar mustache? Where was you born? I was born in Umdurman, Sudan. Oh no, Dr. Malachi Z York was born in Takoradi, Ghana. What do you teach? I teach Nuwapu, the science of sound right reading. They're gonna say, no. We teach Nuwap. They done changed the whole thing around slowly but surely, and what it has caused is what the government had been looking for, division, because their whole thing is divide and conquer.
I just brought another brother in. I want to know, do you have anything to say or ask? Brother Mookie?
Rahul back.
We were just talking about how the Nuwapians, how they don't change the description of Dr. Malachi Z York, and how they pushing the Torah and actual facts, and the newcomers that come to them, they know nothing about the old, scrolls and stuff. They only know about the Torah and actual facts. And if some of the old Nuwapians have some of the old books, they won't even tell some of these newcomers that's joining their nation about these old books. So that right there within itself saying that, and they say in the Quran about those who hold back the facts. You know what I'm saying?
The middle Kaffirine. Well, see, part of that thing is this here. They are trying to make money. One, it's a money thing. Because I'm going to tell y'all something that happened many years ago, about 14 years ago. We had a committee up here in New York, where I'm located at, called the Concerned Citizens Committee of New York. And we put together a DVD called The Conspiracy to Destroy Dr. Malachi Z York. Right? I don't know if y'all have seen it yet. I would advise you to definitely watch it. Because the DVD is 14 years old, but we never put it out to the public. Now, at the time, I don't know if you're familiar with a sister named Sakina.
Yes. That's the every time I go to New York.
Cruel people. And of course, Sakina was always about trying to get some money. And she used to come over to where we was holding our meeting at, asking for money. So one day, I said, after we managed to get part of the conspiracy DVD, it had the interview with Adrian Patrick and Bundy Najib, where they're discussing the case and what took place in the courtroom. I think that's the only interview Adrian ever did, really, that he was discussing what took place in the courtroom and how they really didn't prove their charges against Dr. York. But because it was a conspiracy and a tainted jury and so forth, they were determined to convict him anyway. Now, so I said to the people in the committee, I said, well, look, because I was the president of the committee, I said, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we take 100 copies of the DVD, take it over to the bookstore in Bushwick, and give it to them. They could sell it $10 a DVD. We'll split the money. So this way we can keep getting the DVDs made because we didn't have a CD DVD burning machine. So we were paying somebody to make the copies for us and buying the blanks and stuff. So we go over there. Now at the time, Mentu Hotep had just came up to New York. So because he was a part of the triad and such, everybody's looking at him sniffing his butt, right? And so we come in. It was about 8 or 9 of us from the committee. We come in that night to the bookstore out in Bushwick, and we give them the DVDs, say what I just said about the money. Mentu Hotep says no. He didn't want them. I'm like, well, this got a lot of information about the kid. I remember this was 14 years ago. The doc had only been locked up about 2 years. And he said no. I said, okay, I understand. You didn't see the DVD, so I understand you want to watch it first and see what's on it before you just put it on the shelf. I understand that. I went to hand him a couple of DVDs, him and Sakina and them. They said no. I'm like, huh? Then he walks over to some shelf or somewhere to some bag he had, and he pulled out a Patarak and an actual fact scroll. But I think it was the Patarak were these little orange and black cover books. The actual fact were the big scrolls. And I opened up the book, and I seen that cartoon drawing they have of what's supposed to be Malachi York.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I said, excuse my language, was, who the fuck is this? This is not Dr. York. And I looked right at Mintu. Then I looked on the bottom, and I seen what said Malachi Kobina York, born in Takoradi, Ghana. It immediately hit me. They're trying to change his appearance and where he's born.
Mm.
Then when I started, I bought a few books because I'm thinking they from Doc, and I seen that the information I had absolutely no connection to it. It was saying totally different stuff than what Doc had been teaching.
Right.
I said, they're trying to change the doctrine. They're changing his appearance. They're changing where he was born. They're changing the language. They're trying to create a whole nother organization.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Malachi Z York is not Dr. Malachi Kobina York from Takoradi, Ghana. That's two different people. And like you said, sister, why don't they ever use Dr. York's real photographs?
Yeah.
It ain't no copyright thing. It's that they know if they look at the real picture of Dr. York and they look at that cartoon drawing, it ain't the same people.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So these Nuwapians are being, and you gotta remember, if you wasn't around before May 8, 2002, then you never had a chance to interact with Dr. Malachi Z York.
Mm-hmm.
So these people that are coming in after May 8, 2002 they never met Dr. York. They never even seen him.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even know if the person in those videos is the real Dr. York. They don't know because they never seen the man. He could be an actor for all they know. I mean, for most of us, we knew Dr. York mainly through the books, CDs, DVDs, and videos. A lot of us never even met Dr. York really.
Had a chance
or saw
to
him live.
Had a chance to,
So
and
I
I messed up. I'm sorry. I didn't mean. I'm sorry. I had a chance to go down, and I didn't take it. Had a chance right there. Like the girl who introduced me to it, Ifat Muhammad, was like, come on down, man. You got to hear him speak." And I was like, "You people crazy." I was a Jehovah's Witness at the time, and I had my little Bible going on down the street, and I was like, "You people crazy." And then all of a sudden, she gave me a book to read. I said, "I'm gonna read it and give it back." She said, "You ain't giving that book back." I said, "Yeah, I'll give it back." "No, you ain't giving that book back." I still got that book. That was like 98. And then as soon as I decided to go down, that's when everything happened.
Well, see, things happen because they meant to happen. But the main thing is still holding on to the rope. Because if you listen to the CD that he did called The Egyptian Mysteries of Matt, if you listen to that CD closely, there's a conversation between his brother. Ask him, well, what about those of us who weren't around during the Ansar days and didn't have a chance to go through all of those schools and degrees? He said, well, you will never be able to go through those schools and degrees. That's over. He said, but there should have been elders raised up amongst you that did go to those schools that would be able to sit down and relate their experiences, what they learned from me in those schools, what they learned in those schools, and this, that, and the other. Notice what they're doing, these Partarakians. They're trying to teach you that old stuff don't matter no more. So when the old stuff don't matter, that means the old people that was around in those days don't matter either. Oh, that's not, you mean to tell me Dr. Malachi Z York wrote over 400 or 500 books, got locked up. Now, if I go by what people say, well, he's not guilty of those charges, of none of them, well then, okay, he got locked up for writing the information he was writing. That's why he's doing 135 years. Now, you mean to tell me he's doing 135 years sitting in solitary confinement for 10 years to write those parts and actual facts? You mean to tell me this is what he meant when he said, I can't give you what you wanted, so you will learn to want what you have to give, and this is it? And don't read nothing else he wrote for 30, 40 years of his life?
Wow.
Just read these parts and actual facts?
Yeah.
That is insanity.
People have the misconception that they have to go to class in order to have class, and that's not true. When we were in, for instance, when I was in AEO, I could be at home by myself, and I could be reading the books and doing my, doing my studies and stuff like that. Then I could close my eyes and ask a question, and then they would take me on an astral plane, and I would be in another classroom with them, and they would answer my questions right then. Okay. So when I tell them that some of us are true children and we are in direct contact with our ancestors, I'm not playing. I'm very serious, And that's why when people start talking, I say, well, be careful what you say around me. I say, because it's being noted. Okay? And I tell him in the whole tablet, he said, for you not to change that information because the place will come upon you sevenfold. You know what I'm saying? And these people are steady changing information. I spoke to one of the younger sisters who was in Nuwapian, and she didn't know who Tammuz was. She didn't know who Sananda was. She didn't know none of these beings. And I'm like, sis, you really, really, really need it. I said, have you ever read the whole tablet? She was like, no. I said, get your hands on it. I said, and read it for yourself. I said, stop doing that third-party stuff.
Well, see, a lot of that comes from them telling people that's old information. It's outdated. We're not into that anymore. You don't need that information. And instead of them saying, well, I want to know what he was saying, they just go for it because they're looking up to these people, because a lot of these people are saying, well, I was back in the day, this, that, and the other, and so forth. And they're looking up to them as the elders. And people to respect in the doctrine because you've been around for a while and they haven't. So the only form of right knowledge they know, which is really left knowledge or wrong knowledge, is those parts and actual facts. And they got them so programmed that when you come and try to tell them to, well, read this book and read that book, they won't do it. That's why I take pictures of the books. I got hundreds of books. And I take pictures of the books and just post them up on Facebook. Whoever gets them, gets them. Whatever they do once they post it up. But one thing I don't do is ask for any money to do it. See, the most beautiful thing is I'm at the point in my life where I'm semi-retired. So I got a whole lot of time to read and study, pray, to meditate, to try to line my chakras up in my seats of light, to eat properly. They don't even I bet you they don't even read the Wazufa scrolls no more. They don't breathe correctly. They don't chant. They don't, like one of my favorite tapes of Dr. Malachi Z York is Learn to Care. Where they get into the chanting and everybody chanting their different tone and all of that at the same time. Beautiful tapes. Beautiful tape. They're not into that. I don't even want to pronounce no words in Wu Nuwap because I don't know what kind of jinns I might be calling on myself.
Hey, Mookie. Right back, family. Man, you remember one time? I was telling I was telling the brother Dr Muhammad about, and I also was telling Nifa Mayat about us too, about the masters at the round table, me, you, Pastor Jermaine, Freestyle Friday. We've been doing this. And we've been I was in the group. Excellent conversation. When we made them retire, we had Don Coleon on the didn't y'all did one with her, or was that Fatima on them? Yeah, on the Freestyle Fridays. Y'all go back and check out the Freestyle Fridays. Then I had did a recently video with Mookie on there and Jermaine, one guy that got out who was in with Dr. Malachi Z York. Who was locked up with Dr. Malachi.
Not saying that we could verify that, but it was interesting the things that he said.
Mm-hmm. And then the thing is with these brothers who, you know, changing all of the information and stuff, and back to you, brother Sakim Muhammad, it ain't about, you know what I'm saying, you charging the brothers and sisters for the information that you give them, because if it's on your heart to give it to them, and the ones that receive it, they're gonna be the ones that receive it. But we in the time where Dr. Malachi Z York told us to keep our books for a reason. He said keep your books because he know it was a time that we're gonna be like this, and whoever hold these jewels, you are the one that's supposed to be in possession of the Jews, and at your disposal how you want to teach, or do you want to hold for yourself and just allow yourself up and prepare yourself and your family and get ready for these crowds. Damn these ignorant motherfuckers who just want to do what the fuck they want to do and whatever, just stay ignorant and dumb. We ain't got time for them. If they don't want to listen, once you put the message out for them, or if you don't want to, you know, give them information by selling it to them, because a lot of them are willing to buy, and that's up to you if you want to sell them the information or the affirmation, because it's still there for people to learn, because we got kids growing every day that need this information. I don't say won't, but I say need this information, because their DNA has exported too as young babies, and they still in the process of growing or trying to make their way to Nuwapian. And if people like us just shut down on the affirmation that say we ain't selling none of these books or CDs or nothing, we just gonna put a page out a day or two or whatever, but not books to let them know that it's available for people still to enhance themselves and get prepared for 2030 to all the way to 2043. Then that's our responsibility and that's our choice.
Now here the catch to what you just said. For those that are listening in, and you know who I'm talking about. Doc said in the Black Book Part 2 that a lot of the dates that he gave, he said, did you actually think I was going to give you the exact date in a public book that everybody is reading? Plus, he said the pale man's time is off because I'm sure we all know the answer to this. With the shortest amount of time on the clock, the second. So what happened to the first? They start on the second. We start on the first. They have the tick-tock. But what about the space in between the tick and the tock? That's our time. That's the time we're supposed to be vibrating on and tuning into, so that they can give us messages in our head or in the books or whatever that we'll know where to be and what to be. And then you remember Doc also taught people are so worried sometimes about a sham coming, they forget about turning yourself into a sham or a ship. Because the reality is a lot of us are scared to leave the physical plane and really don't want to. They're scared to leave this physical body because they don't realize that the purpose is to raise your vibrations and raise yourself so that you can go to the higher plane. But the higher planes ain't physical. Now, maybe once you land on a physical planet and have to reconfigure your molecular structure to fit that planet, yes. Because Dr. York also said, I think it was in the tape, the 1,000-year rapture, and it was a sister who asked him, was he Melchizedek? And he said, yes, I am Melchizedek. She said, you're the angel Michael? He said, yes, I am. And she said it kind of sarcastically, oh, I talked to an angel today. And she was ready to, kind of step off. And he said, wait a minute, hold up. All of y'all are angelic beings. All of y'all are Etherians who just fell from grace. He said, in our realm, we are just as physical as you are in this realm. He said, yes, so we do dance, have babies, indulge in what you call sex. He said, we're just as physical in our realm as you are in this realm. He said, the only difference is because we've been in existence millions and trillions of years before y'all. Therefore, we're more closer to the Most High.
Right.
Because we've been in existence that much more longer. He said it's like pouring water in water. He said that's why I said I've been around 76 trillion years, because as Yanun, as an etheric being, we don't die. We've conquered death. And a lot of us don't want to die. Or I like to say, as I heard somebody else say it, everybody wants to go to heaven, but don't nobody want to die. Because if you look at people, they in the hospital, they will have 50,000 wires hooked up to their body trying to stay here. So that shows you how much they don't want to leave the material plane. But as we learned in our doctrine, the material plane is the lowest and slowest of all the planes. So why would I want to stay here? I mean, when it's my time to go, it's my time to go. But why not? Why am I not working in the meantime to upraise my vibration and my chakras and line up my seats of light and eat properly and this and that and the other, so that when it comes time to leave here, I'm still not attached to the material plane and may have to recycle and do it over until I get to the point I don't want to be attached to this plane no more, because I haven't given up all these ayahs for it. If you notice in the doctrine, Doc even teaches that once you reach the mental planes, you won't even have a spirit or a soul, because you had to give all that up too when you reach the mental plane. And a lot of people are like, wait a minute, I got to give up my soul. Yes, in order to make it to a certain level, yes, you will.
Where is the mental plane? The mental plane is in your mind. You see,
the mental plane is also the fourth plane. Is called the where the Akasha records are kept, and the mental plane is where your thoughts really come from.
Mm-hmm. You can tap into that. You can tap into that. Just, let me say something. If you go back to the Isles of Patmos, he clearly explained everything that's going on in the Nuwapian nation today. He said specifically in there, he said that they were going to join together and form their own organization just to market and put his name on it. You see what I'm saying? All of his works from 1999 to 2002, even up until 2004, he explained clearly what's going on today. You see, things that can't be denied. If you go to Are You Ready to Meet God class, Dr. York compared himself to Satan, and he said, he talked about Satan having a conversation with the Most High, and he said, where have you been? He said, I've been to and fro the earth. You see? And then Doc said, you want to see what that's like? You want to see me walking up and down to and fro the earth? You see? Today, the Nuwapians call themselves Sabians. If you go to the book of Job, chapter 1, you see who the Sabians are. These are the ones that deny the Most High. You see? So it's all playing out according to the script. And if you go to the Millennium Book speaks about New York, California, places like that. Dr. York said clearly that one day New York City is going to be destroyed. Well, New York, the whole state, he said it's going to be destroyed. And he said, despite me telling you this, you still going to find your way back to New York, and you're going to live there, despite me telling you, even though everything else that I've been telling you has been happening. Currently, New York is below sea level. If you're paying attention to the economy right now, and you seeing what's happening, it's right now, storms is hitting like crazy. Now, the U.S. spoke of certain calamity that's taking place, spoke of fires in California. What's happening right now? Fires all over California. But now you telling me Doc saying, go stay there, when he clearly told us not to go there. You see? Then he said they will foolishly turn away from the holy tablets. What's happening right now? They turned away from the holy tablets.
See, So, part of the key thing to all of that is when you raise yourself to the level, because that's what we were supposed to be. If you read the old Science of Healing scroll, where we were supposed to be to a level where when catastrophe strikes, that we were supposed to be able to just leave this physical shell behind.
What did he say be? He said, don't be no more than 100 miles from Rock Eagle Mountain. He told us to be in Georgia. That's what he said.
Okay, now here's the thing. If you can be there, because it ain't that simple for just everybody to just get up and leave. So you got to remember, his books have circulated all over the world. Everybody just cannot be at the Rock Eagle Mound. And remember what he said about that. I forget which class it was, but he said that the Rock Eagle Mound was a landing site. He said that was one of the reasons the Ancient One directed him to the spot that he bought the land at. He said it's like 15 minutes away from Tamaray. He said, but that don't mean go up there like because I think at the time Independence Day was out, that movie with Will Smith. Yeah. And he was like, don't be like them fools in Independence Day going up there dressed with extraterrestrial costumes and all of that and get zapped. He said, because these beings don't have physical eyes. They see your aura. They see your halut, your electromagnetic field. So if your aura is not right and they're looking at the colors, let's say you was angry that day and all they see is red, they're going to blast you because they don't have the same human emotions that we do, or any emotions at all. Like the Greys, they don't have emotions. Even though Doc said they desire to have it, and the person asked, well, why would they desire to have emotions? And he was like, because they don't know what emotions are. So it's like curiosity, so to speak. You know, they don't know what emotions come, love, hate, and all of these other things that come with having emotions. They don't know that. Look at this, listen to this here. Check this out. After we die, is that it? Are we just dead? Melchizedek. Death is the end to your physical life. However, there are two deaths. One is the physical death and the other is the spiritual death. In the physical death, your body will dissipate and go back into the earth. And the other is where your spirit dies and goes back into the universe. This is the spiritual death, which is the higher you, where the higher spiritual energies come from. Is that the end of us? That's the end of you. The physical body appears to be in slumber, but your spiritual body sometimes ascends. Sleep is the time when a person is most likely to receive spiritual impressions. There is an existing you, the highly spiritual energies coming from you. The physical body has two life cords, the umbilical cord and the ethereal cord. It is with this etheric cord that you are linked with the Etherians that will come for you when it is time. The thin, cobweb-like ethereal cord is invisible only to the naked eye, yet it is the link between the physical body and the spiritual plane. So death is really another beginning. Just as at birth the umbilical cord is cut and you are released from your mother, at death the ethereal cord is cut when you die and you are freed from the physical plane. Only if you master desire. A person may not pass the physical plane into the spiritual plane but through death. What happens if the etheric cord is cut? If the ethereal cord has been broken by accident on the spiritual plane, the physical body, which lies in a state of sleep, dies, and the spirit can never return back to that physical body. Such accidents are rare, yet there are a history of such incidents amongst spiritual travelers of the mental and spiritual plane. In studying the seven heavens, keep in mind that they have subplanes, and each of these subplanes has its own subdivision, and so on into the seventh degree of subdivision. Is there a distinction between the planes? Planes have no spatial distinction of degree. Each plane blends into the other, overlapping, and thus have common areas of space. A single point of space may have manifestations on all of the seven planes of being. For example, consider the phenomenons of the physical plane. Look around you. every given area contained vibrations at its own frequency, thus did not interfere with other frequencies as being on. I'm going to stop right there. This is interesting here too. The thing is, you are looking at beings who are here in the Earth's atmosphere, trying to revert the negative flow of current that is here. You can't assimilate them because you haven't developed the inner part of you. You're developing, but you have not developed the inner part of you to be able to focus on them and take shape the way you do physical things. Meaning, human beings are under the impression that when they really look at something, they really see it, and they don't. Now, question here, why are we in this condition? Why can't the inner being be brought forth? Melchizedek, I am a teacher, and I've come to get my students and prepare you all for the war. We've had several wars with the Luciferians, and we've won. And every time they went somewhere else and colonized. Now they've colonized here, and they've gotten you. Now I've got to separate you from them and turn you back into spiritual beings so we can conquer them. This is who you all call Satan, and prepare you all to go back to Malakut and turn this place back into the kingdom of God. And he adds in parentheses, Anu. Thy kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. What is Malakut? Malakut, you're saying, what is that? There's three. There are three domains, and then there's lower and above. Nasut, Malakut, and Lahut, going up. Nasut is the abode of humans, which is what you all are, the ones on earth. Malakut is the abode of Malik, angelic beings, Anunnaki or Elohim, Nephilim, as you call them. And Lahut is the throne of the omnipotent, which is seven veils. You follow? Solid, liquid, gas. You're in solid, the angels are in a liquid, and the Almighty is in a form of gas. And a liquid can become vaporized into gas or hardened into a solid. Now I'm here to turn a solid back into a vapor, a liquid, then back into a gas. You follow? But they're so intermingled with the mortals. Here it's hard to define who's who anymore. You're so well trained to act like the devil and look like him and walk like him and love like him and lust like him until it's hard to find the good ones from the bad ones. It's such a confusing job. Now when you meet people, you think they're spiritual beings, you start teaching them, and they're really physical. Nothing but physical, total physical. It becomes bewildering. How would I know for myself? Melchizedek, you do know for yourself. You already know if you're a spiritual being because you're not content here. When you look up at the sky, you can just stare. When we discuss UFOs, it doesn't frighten you. You want to be picked up by them. It's a difference. Other people say, not me. I'm not going in no flying saucer. Then there's another group of people that say, why don't I see that? You even look up at shadow hours out your window and say, why can't I see one? Sister, are you still on the line?
Should still be there. I'm looking at her phone number.
Nevermind, you still there?
I don't see a hang up signal yet. I mean, I still see the number there. So.
I'm finna ask you now.
All right. Maybe she stepped away from the phone.
Yeah, it could be. Sometimes people get cut off on these phones and don't even realize they're off.
But if she was off, her number shouldn't be there. I'm still looking at all four of your numbers.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting her now.
Or maybe, I don't know, maybe it cuts off because it's the first time I had multiple people on here, so I'm not 100% how it works.
Okay, I hear that.
Another thing that I wanted to be clear on, what me and the brother Sakim Muhammad was talking about earlier before we got on this live call about the bloodline
and how he was saying that, you know, Inky Mama is a reptilian, you know what I'm saying? And you know, Marduk is Inky's son. So we were dealing with and in there as well as a pearl born, you know. So that's my main focus is focusing on the bloodline, because the same way these Nuwapians are saying that the Anunnaki are here to eat people and stuff like that, and then they give a genealogy of the Anunnaki and who are the earthly beings of the Anunnaki, and is incorrect, because they're saying that the Anunnaki has procreated Tamahus. They line the genes up with the Adamites, and saying that the Adamites was white that was connected to the Anunnakis, and that's a lie. Because I had showed when all the species that was getting spliced up and everything and mixing with our DNA, that we chose from certain species, and we created what they call the pygmies, the sand people, the so-called Egyptians. The Anunnakis are the ones that did that.
Well, actually, there was an Adam or Adamite amongst the Caucasoids, like Canaan, but those beings, don't forget, came through leprosy. Then you had the Pleiadians, who influenced or were telepathically communicating to Yaqub. See, this is the one thing we got to remember. When Doc teaches about these beings, he does not teach that they were fictional characters that were just made up like a comic book or something. He teaches that these beings actually did exist and actually did do these things. And this is how certain species of this, that, and the other came about. See, that's like, remember we were talking earlier about the Yeshua character. Doc does not teach that that character was fictional. He teaches that Jesus Christ was a fictional character. But Yeshua HaMashiach was a real person. Isa Walad Maryam was a real person 2,000 years ago. And then they tied in the story with, what else they would have, with really Haru, Horus, Isis, Osiris. Yeah, it's a similar story, definitely. But Yeshua was called a Horus or Haru when he went to Egypt. That same character. But the Haru or Horus of the Isis Osiris story is not the same character of 2,000 years ago. They're not the same beings.
And another thing.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Before you carry on, bro, can I insert this? What me and you was talking about earlier too, about that Horus was a degree. Right? That Horus that we talking about was a degree.
A degree and even a place, because Hor or Har meant high up or far away on the mountain. Because when Moses and them would go in and receive revelations, notice they would always go up in these high mountains. Remember Jesus or the Yeshua character, when he's tempted, he was up on a high mountain. That's why they said that in that story, throw yourself down off this mountain, and it said that the Most High will protect you, lest you dash your foot. Remember, it said that he took him up on a high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world. But now they explained that the reason they would do everything on these high mountains was because it was easier for the crafts, the ships, when they came to land on those high mountains. So the people down below would see these clouds. And remember, he always taught that they would do a lot of their, when they came, they would use the clouds as a cover. That's why he wrote the scroll, The Mystery Clouds Are They UFOs?
We have to do another show.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I tried to come in when you stopped. I'm sorry, but I was saying we got to do another show on that. It's just a lot of things that I have questions about too. But we have to do another show on those particular subjects, like, do you really believe he come from the planet Riggs? And things like that. I think to do another show on those.
Well, see, You know what a lot of people's problem is when they get into certain parts of the doctrine? When it was strictly the religious thing, a lot of people really didn't have a problem accepting it because it was easy to do. But when Doc started pointing out, well, those beings you calling angels are extraterrestrials. What? Because the Caucasoid then already gave them an idea of what an extraterrestrial look like and what an extraterrestrial is coming here to do. It never turns out good for the humans on the planet. And they're usually some grotesque looking creature to humans. And either they come in to eat you for dinner or to take over the planet and enslave you. So a lot of people have a hard time dealing with the fact that any being that doesn't come from the planet Earth is an extraterrestrial, including God, including the angels, and including the devil. None of them came from the planet Earth.
Right.
But they all came here. If I follow the story, God even created the planet Earth. So that's where a lot of people got a big problem accepting extraterrestrial life unless the white man confirms it. When the white man said it's real, then they'll come back and say, yo, you know what that brother Dr. York was writing? It's true. How do you know? Because I heard on CNN, Roger Grimsby said it was true. But if Roger Grimsby said it wasn't true, he would come back and say, yo, you know that stuff Dr. York writing is a lie. Because Roger Grimsby said so.
Yeah.
That's how these Negroes' mind is so programmed. So here's what I'm going to ask. When this tape is done, the part of the tape that was dealing with the case of Dr. York and his legal issues and such, and whether he received a fair trial, that be edited so that part of the tape is one separate tape.
Well, what I was actually planning on doing when the goddess came on, and I think she's gone because only 3 phone numbers here now. I'm not exactly sure who's here, but I know you and Brother Owens is here. But when she came on and you started and you went from the court case and started going into other things, it was exactly 1:30. So I was going to actually put that into the into the you know when I write the title that that this part over here is talking about the case, and at 1:30 it cuts off and starts talking about something else. So people have a choice to, if they want to listen to one whole thing, they could just skip right
part
to
of the reason I wanted to do that was because I have other reasons why I did this particular interview and wanted to keep it strictly about the case. Because you got to remember, sometimes we have a tendency to be selfish.
Yeah.
And this is what I mean. We'll talk about Dr. York, this, and this, and forget about other people who may get caught up in a situation like Dr. York's.
Right.
Whether he's in prison or not. And not informing people of how you can be set up with RICO charges, how the government can come at you and ruin your reputation in the media and not know the proper terminologies and all of this. It's a little deep. That's why I was so specific on using the correct legal terminologies and even explaining what they meant.
Right.
So that when people are listening to it, you got to figure a person who's never been involved with the law before, all of that is new terminology, new words, new information, new meanings to them.
Yeah.
And don't forget, they tell you ignorance of the law is no excuse. You cannot tell them I didn't know I was breaking the law. So it's your responsibility to know the law.
Right.
So I figured that serves a double purpose Plus, I have other things I want to do with that information.
Yeah.
And I needed it recorded.
Yeah. I want to I'm going to move it to probably about I'm gonna put it right in the title from the beginning to about 125. That's when I think James Brother Owens came on, and then wanted to go into other things. But from you know, but that first section was just me and you. So I'm gonna just get them that choice, you know, of what section they want to listen to.
Okay, and that's cool. As a matter of fact, that's cool because I'm gonna re-record it anyway.
All right.
So I'll know when to stop and even when to start back up, because I know there were times we got in some other stuff. Then I started talking about more legal issues.
Yeah. In fact, as soon as it uploads, I'll probably put it on private, and then as soon as I know right when it cut off, I'll put it back on public and know exactly when it's, you know, where to send them.
Yeah, that sounds good. So actually, I did enjoy this very much.
Yeah. Yes, man. I did too.
You know what we got to do?
It's been 3
We got
hours.
to get together and get the brothers and sisters, like the sister there, who have their old scrolls, who don't mind reading the information to each other.
Yes.
For instance, because if you got a scroll I don't have, that means I don't have access to that information.
Yeah.
And if you feel there's some pertinent information, I don't mean read the whole book, unless the whole book is good, people willing to listen. And of course, people want to make comments and all of that. But if you got information I don't have, we're supposed to share that information with each other. I understand people don't want to let go of their books because, you know, it ain't like back in the day when I could just go to any bookstore or find somebody on the street selling scrolls.
Right.
It ain't quite that simple. Not that it's impossible, because you could always go to Scribe and Amazon, but for what they got, they're gonna offer legs for it.
Scribe don't have the Millennium book. Scribe don't have a lot of the Scribe don't have the newsletters. I don't think like
stuff. Don't have a lot of stuff you're not gonna be able to get, but you know, get what you can.
Mm-hmm.
While you can even get that, because I've always said, I think a day is gonna come when you're going to go to punch in Dr. York or whatever, and nothing is gonna show up.
Mm.
They're gonna try to act like he never even existed.
Or turn him white.
So you got to remember, they consider his information so dangerous. Look where they have him locked away at. If we accept that he's not guilty of the charges they accused him of.
But they locked this man up, but they didn't lock his information up. And you made a reference on that earlier when we were talking. You say they hit this man with the RICO Act, but the RICO Act is dealing with a criminal organization, right? Someone who's running a criminal organization. So if he's the head of something that he's running, why is he the only one got locked up? Why not the whole Nuwapian worldwide? You know.
Well, he actually answered that question in the Isle of Patmos CDs. If you listen to number 1, he clearly said that they told him. Remember, he didn't get arrested alone. He got arrested with Kathy Johnson, Khadijah Merritt, Sandra Lampkin, and I forget the other sister's name. And they were telling him, we'll let them go, according to what he says. If you just do this, this, and this, because we don't want them, we want you. So their whole focus was him.
Mm-hmm.
It just so happened they happened to be in the car when they rolled up on him.
Yeah.
Which makes you wonder, how did they happen to know he was going to a Walmart? But then again, they could have been following him. Who knows? But so the thing is, he clearly says that, and he clearly said because they wanted to stop the doctrine I'm propagating. They wanted to stop the indigenous status, the Moorish status, the Native American status. They wanted to stop all of that. Now, what he didn't say he wanted to stop was no Pontaracs and actual facts. So, you know, people could take that however they want to take it, but
yeah, exactly. Well, one thing that I would like to make, you know, clear though about this particular channel is that, and I don't think none of you was probably thinking in this way. I just wanted to, you know, say that you might see anybody on this channel. You might see a Hebrew Israelite dropping some of their doctrine, although I don't agree with it. You might see. I plan to have a brother on here saying how veterans is treated like shit. You might see a Moorish American brother that was actually on the channel. I had Phil Valentine, you know, and you might see a lot of stuff on this channel. It's not just Nuwapian. So
and that's cool because it's unbiased journalism.
Yeah. So I don't want nobody to go out and say, well, wait a minute, I thought he wasn't with us Nuwapians. How the hell he got Captain Tazariak on here? Like, you know, cause me and Tazariak is cool. Although a lot of Nuwapians hate that, he's one of the coolest. He talks shit about Dr. York and so on and so forth. But aside from that, me and him, you know, we bang it out. Like, but there's a lot of people that probably be on here. Polite, supposed to be on here soon. I don't know what the hell he doing. But you know, I just wanted to throw that out there.
Hey, brother, Sakim.
Yeah.
I won't mind doing a debate with that brother, Captain, what his name?
Tazariak?
I want to debate with that brother, you know what I'm saying? Because it won't be a debate where me and him gonna be disrespectful to each other like how him and Brother Polite got in it with each other, because
yeah.
Him and Brother Polite, Brother Polite went at him from a different point of view. I'm gonna go at him straight from the scriptures, and I'm gonna show him. Huh?
I didn't mean to cut you off, but Polite has grown. Polite has grown. I know him, but I know what you're saying. But actually, I'm supposed to set up a debate between Tazariak and Geno Jennings. And I
See, my thing is, a lot of times with the debate situation, see, I'm 55 years old. I'm not into all the cursing and cussing and acting a fool and all of that. Like a lot of these young brothers I've observed on Facebook and the internet and YouTube and all of that. Every other word that come out their mouth is a curse word. They acting like they little gangsters and thugs. This does not represent what our black leaders are supposed to be. You got to go back to Dr. King, Martin, Malcolm, and further back. They did not act like that. They might have before they came into being conscious, but once they became conscious and all of that cursing and cussing, yes?
I'm listening.
Oh, and all that cursing and cussing and carrying on is, if you want the youth, the young people to listen, and you want them to start to get out of that, you can't be doing it.
Hey, but like I said,
one of the things that impressed me about Dr. York when I first listened to him, because I used to talk like that too, was I would listen to whole tapes of him for hours and never hear him say a curse word.
Yeah.
And that used to amaze me, of his level of knowledge of words, and then he was speaking more than just English. So that really amazed me.
Yeah, but so, we could have organized debates without cussing and getting crazy, because the thing that I want to do is put everybody's thing on the table, and then people will have to go ahead and weigh the differences out, you know, for themselves, you know, like that. Like everybody can, and like everybody out there got something they can teach somebody. And I'm not talking about the screaming and hollering and the cussing and everything. Although I do that, I admit, when I run into some Hebrews on the street, it ends up like that. But you know, it could be some organized debates where everybody can learn some things that they probably never heard before.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of that depends on if you want to learn, because some people, their minds are so locked, like you listen to a lot of these Nuwapians, their mind is so locked that they will clearly tell you, if you're not following Partaraks and actual facts, I don't even want to talk to you.
Yeah, well, they can go to another channel.
When you're communicating with a person like that,
yeah, I know.
And there's no real dialogue between the two of y'all. It would have to really be, I just state the information I know, and you state the information you know about that same subject. And if it differs, it differs. It's up to the audience to choose what's best for them. But we can't really have an open dialogue because your mind is so closed to any new information.
Exactly.
I have a question. I have a question dealing with what you brothers think, and sister, what you think about the brother what his name Shabuel, that brother, and the other brothers that's running the Nuwapian nation right now, the dude Chris or whatever his name.
Well, he ain't running nothing that involved me.
I haven't been in the mirror in so long, I don't even know who they are. ever since I went into a mirror and brother Talib, ever since we went into a mirror and asked some questions, and they got mad because they couldn't answer it and actually walked out, and another guy had to take their place, we knew right then this is not how Dr. York, this is not how he did it. I mean, these people would get pissed off and be ready to like, and then like a new person would come in and ask, because this person that might have been in Islam or something, and they ask a question, and you hear sniggling and everything in the class, and sometimes the teacher, he would be like in an arrogant state, and especially when there's some nice looking women around, he wanted to impress them. He would dance all around this question that he don't know and get the person all confused to say that they don't even want to, ever since things like that started happening, we knew something was going wrong. So I haven't been in the mirror in so long that I don't even know a lot of these brothers' names anymore.
Well, if I can respond to that, it's not a newcomers class anymore. It's a Nuwapians talking to other Nuwapians class. Then it's a matter of, okay, since you're into Wu Nuwap and whatever, then we can talk to each other. And if I read this scroll and you didn't, I can relay that information to you. But a newcomers class like Dr. Malachi Z York would hold was involving anyone coming off the street and ask any question you want, and Malachi would have an answer. And the way it worked back in the day was when Dr. York had other brothers and or sisters teaching class, they knew what they were talking about. Because most of the time, before you actually moved in, one, you was not going to be a teacher if you wasn't living in the community. That's one thing. Two, by the time you had decided to move in, you may have been reading the books for years before you finally made that decision to move in, because moving in was a lot different than coming to class every week. Because once you decided to move in, you decided this is the lifestyle I want to live. Because we had a culture, a way of life that we were living. So it wasn't like going to church on Sunday in the Christian church where you just sit down, sing, dance, everybody try to outdress each other, then you go home.
Shit, it is now.
So the way that went was new people, newcomers who didn't know nothing were encouraged to come. That's why if you listen to most of Dr. York's tape, matter of fact, not most, all of Dr. York's tapes, he's answering questions to people who really don't know nothing. Some of them people are coming in like, well, I don't know, I'm not no scholar and this, that, and that. And Dr. York is like, I understand. Now, what's your question? And when he gave them the answer, it was so thorough that they left out with a whole new understanding of what the question they asked, and then learned some information they wasn't expecting to learn.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like when you listen to that tape, Holy Bible.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Remember, the brother just asked one simple question and got an almost hour-long answer.
Yeah.
So that's the way it went. But these brothers and sisters now, they're lacking so much information because they didn't go through all of those schools. The ancient mystery court of Melchizedek, the Sufi, the Son of the Green Light. They didn't go through Ansarullah, the Nubian Islamic Hebrews, the ancient Egyptian order. They didn't go through all of those schools, so they're lacking so much information. That's why you don't see them propagating on the street a lot, because when they come back to the reality of what's really happening in the world, most people are still caught up in religion.
Mm-hmm.
So how am I going to go toe-to-toe with a Jehovah's Witness who knows their stuff and break them down if I don't know mine? If I can't tell you chapter, quote, and verse,
Mm-hmm.
where to go and tell you go look in your book, because I know it's in there. And if it ain't quite what it's saying in the King James Version, I know how to explain it. Then I can explain it to you from the Arabic and from the Hebrew and from the Greek and such. Because you can't just start off telling people about aliens and extraterrestrials and they're not ready for that level of information. Doc used to say, let the people talk about what they're interested in.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
That's why, for instance, if you notice, there's a lot of information in Dr. York's books on a lot of different subjects that you never hear nobody ask him about in class. Now, I would like to think if he put the information in the book, he can go a lot deeper into the subject. The thing was, people never asked him about it. So he only answered the questions you asked him about.
Mm-hmm.
But you start reading the book, and like I got a book in front of me that's dealing with the electromagnetic spectrum. Now, I would like to think if I asked him a question about the electromagnetic spectrum and a hologramic beam and optical lasers and all of that, he would be able to answer them because it's in the book. But since nobody didn't ask him, he didn't go into it. It was very rare, if you notice, he had classes where he kind of like gave a lecture and talked about what he wanted to talk about. Those classes are very rare. Like the tape, How Do You Prove the Existence of the Most High?
Yeah.
That basically turned into a lecture. Because the whole class is about 3 or 4 hours long.
Yep.
And he's doing 99% of the talking. So, they're not ready for just anybody to just come in off the street. They're not even ready for a Nuwapian who knows this stuff to start questioning what they're saying.
Yeah.
Because I've been called all kind of names for just saying, go listen to Dr. York's CD about that exact same subject.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been told, no, I'm going by the latest update from the letter I got from Mario Jessup. And I'm like, and you won't even go listen to what Dr. York has to say on his live CD where he's speaking out his own mouth? Nah, because that's the old information, brother. But yet you'll tell me to go research some ancient tablets that were written 20,000 years ago. But yet something that was spoken on 20 years ago, and the person's still alive, that's outdated and you don't want to hear it.
Yep.
And I had also went into that too. There's no such thing as outdated, because we know that us as humans right now in the physical form always have to rely upon some artifact or some information that been passed down from my great grandfather, from his grandfather, grandmother, and so forth. You know what I'm saying? And no matter how much research we do, it always gonna come from another man or another woman from the past tense into the present tense. The only thing that we actually know is when we go into our spiritual realm and we acknowledge who we are, and we can verify some of this information that was told from us from stone tablets that been translated by men and women alike and gave it down to us to the time of the day what we saying, what is hieroglyphic and what Nuwabu is really saying, even though Dr. Malachi Z York came and put it in a form where we can understand what we call Nuwabu, which is a language that no one has ever heard of until he brought it to the forefront as how he have it. But cuneiform been here though, what they call cuneiform, which is we know as Nuwabu. And at the same time, what I want to say is like what the brother Shakim Muhammad was saying. No Nuwapian or anybody on this planet Earth want to deal with anybody who's been through all the schools, because if you listen to a lot of tapes of what Dr. Malachi Z York was saying, he say he don't walk in front of us. You know what I'm saying? We walk beside him. And he was saying on one of his tapes too, you know, even though he our leader, but he's not the one that we should be looking up to as a leader like that, because he's making us all to become master teachers. And that was the whole purpose of going through the different schools and stuff. So when I step to a Jehovah's Witness, I should know how to interact with the Jehovah's Witness without defending the Jehovah's Witness or Christian or Muslim or Hebrew Israelite or Mason or Eastern Star or anybody on this planet Earth, you know, that have some type of communication dealing with our mysteries. Because we've been taught.
You know what it is? With a lot of times, it's not that a person wants to offend them. It's that a lot of times they don't know about their own school of thought that they're in. So when you point out things to them about what they're into, they almost mad because they didn't know it themselves. And it's like, how you know, and you're not even down with what I'm down with, but you know more about what I'm about than I do. Mm-hmm. So,
but it's a way that we can use the information to come at these people to beat them down, or we can come at them as we coming in a question form. You know what I'm saying? We may show something in the Bible and just put it in a question. Like, for instance, when the Elohims came down and confined the people language, they say they came down. You know, we ask questions like, came down from where? And how far, and how did the Elohim or God or Jehovah or Yuhei or whatever you want to call these beings, how did they get here from wherever they came from? Because apparently they had to come down, let us go down. So if they're coming down, they got to come down to something. And then you go and, you know, in Exodus, where we're talking about these clouds with the Egyptian and the Hebrew, the Israelite children, when they've been separated from these clouds, a day and pillars and all of this type of stuff, you know, just ask questions to broaden their minds, to make them think a little bit outside of this, you know, what they've been taught.
Well, see, here's the problem with that. First, they have to have read their books. Because what I found out back in the day when I was propagating in the street, in my jalabiyas and all of that, what I would find out is most of the people did not know their scriptures because they really had never read the book. Mm-hmm. Most Christians have never read their Bible from cover to cover.
Right.
So they don't know what's in the book. Like when you would show them the 3 Jesuses and all of that, they'd be shocked. Or when you show them the quote where it says that I am the Lord thy God from the land of Egypt, mm-hmm. and thou shalt have no other God before me. And you're talking about well, God came from Egypt. They're in a total state of shock because they didn't even know that was in the book because they never read. You gotta remember, when they go to the church, the reverend or the deacon or whatever is telling them, today we're going to read this chapter and this verse. We're going to sing a few songs. We're going to pass the collection plate around 3 or 4 times. If the money is good, we're going to really dance and sing some more. Then you're going to get out of here till next Sunday.
Right.
You don't get a chance to ask no questions, nothing. And the last thing they want you to do is to ask questions.
I've been there. Mormon and Jehovah's Witness.
No, they ask a question, they'll put you out the church before they let you ask too many questions.
Mm-hmm.
So you remember Doc said, I don't know if y'all ever heard the tape, I forget the title of it, but you might remember the conversation where he said, a lot of your reverends and ministers are Freemasons. So he was teaching about operation and speculation. And he was saying how when they're in the church, or better yet, when you're in the church and you're seeing all the rituals, like you watch them films of the Catholics, and they're walking around with the incense burners and all of that, and you're wondering what they're doing, you're in speculation and they're in operation. Then he said, but when they go to the lodge and they're getting all the rituals, getting initiated and such, then they're in speculation, and the people that are performing the Masonic rituals are in operation. He said, so you got operation and speculation going on at the same time. And then most of the time, in the church, the people are in speculation, and they're taught not to ask questions, because the preacher will say, if you're questioning the preacher, and he'll say, you can't question God.
Right.
Don't question God. Even though that God said in that Bible, test that spirit to see if it is of the Most High or not. But many false prophets have gone out into the world and will deceive many people. How can I test you if I don't ask you questions?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the whole trick, and to keep you from asking questions.
Yeah.
And that's why Doc wrote the books in a question-answer format, to get you used to asking questions.
Right. Well, you know what, man? I enjoyed it. It has been 3 hours.
Oh, that's all?
Man, I'm like, wow. We gotta save a little bit for next time.
You can talk about this all day and all night, man. I can go on and on about this, and I really, ain't getting into really what I wanted to get into, but it just was a spinoff of what the brother Sakim Muhammad was talking about, because he just wanted to deal with the topic.
Oh shoot, we'll get back to it.
Dr. Malachi Z York gets a fair trial.
We definitely get back to it, man. And for right now, when anybody got any closing things to say, because I do have a few things.
Actually, I do
have some collages to make and things like that.
Actually, I do.
Okay.
It's a response from Dr. Malachi Z York, from Dr. Malachi Z York debates with the Jehovah's Witnesses.
I used to be one of them.
And it said here, and this, Sophia, had been my main argument for 28 years of being a teacher and a master of Semitic languages. You should know the original language of the scriptures, because you are depending on mistranslations and so-called scholars' opinions when you read these revised, re-revised, updated editions of the Bible and Quran. And you, Jehovah's Witnesses, made up your own translation from New Greek to make it support your own points, but you did not come from the Hebrew. So my main thing is learn the languages. For those that are still in religion, learn your Arabic, learn your Hebrew, learn your Greek, so that you can see what those scriptures are really saying, as opposed to the mistranslation that they have in English.
Mm-hmm. Right. Brother Owens?
Yeah.
Any last words?
Well, the last words that I want to say, for people that don't know me, but know me by Anu Epsu, Al Ghani Hakim Asaru, or Osiris, and many other names that I have, even Enlil, and many other names that I got. I just, that I came here to teach the brothers and sisters about the bloodline, because a lot of Anunnaki that's here, like who they call Dr. Malachi Z York, he came to teach all the Anunnaki children, but it was up to you to find out who you are or who child you belongs to, because not all of us are Anunnakis as in ranks, and higher ranks. There's lower ranks of Anunnakis as well, or Anunnaki. So just like you got New School was under me, and you got other ranks of Anunnaki or Anunnaki that's here that handle, on the physical plane to do what they have to do, dealing with Dr. Malachi Z York case as to set things straight for the media to get that what the brother Sakim Muhammad doing to make sure everything clear with his name from all the false accusations and the way that people look at how Dr. Malachi Z York has been slandered for stuff that haven't happened, but haven't got the record straight of what actually happened. You know what I'm saying? And that's what that brother here to do. And then you got other sisters, like Nefi Mayat Amun, and she's here, with me, and she's an Anunnaki herself. And this sister here is so powerful, and she even gave me life to even, go back into myself, to pull back and start back teaching and doing what I incarnated to do. Because, tell you the truth, Earth had got so boring to me, bro. I had no experience, everything that anybody really could experience on Earth as dealing with tragedies and pleasure. And I just got tired of Earth just that quick that I wanted to go home. I mean, I really don't care about nothing here on the planet Earth, tell you the truth, as like I cherish nothing here on Earth. And I'm not afraid to die. And I know he is spirit, is the Anunnaki of death who come grab our soul when we project from this physical body. But if you don't hold our soul,
Right.
So I just want to close out with this, that the reason why I asked you, brother Shakim, to set up interview with me and to the brother Captain Tasari, because I can actually guide these brothers back into the lineage of the Babylonians and the Sumerians, the Persians, all the way back to, who they are from the Sumerians, who the Anunnakis, who we came and taught the knowledge, and who we also put the seed in the water to evolve, to become even, what they call Homo sapiens today. We made that plan, and even though a lot of people get it confused and say, "Oh, Inky ain't know, about the beings that was here," but he say, "Well, I know what a being that," because he already knew this. The reason why he knew this because from the Shemti project, when they first put the seeds in the water to evolve from the algae and amoeba, the one sick. You know what I'm saying? There were no humans or human on the planet till back then. You see what I'm saying? And you can go back and read this and do research about how the evolution process started. So to get back to what I'm saying is, I just want the brothers who call themselves Hebrew Israelites to come back in the fold to find out that Anu is the Most High, who y'all calling this one God, Yahweh, Yuhei, or whatever you calling on this deity. And that goes for the Muslims as well. All y'all got to fall back in line. And the people, that's claiming Egyptians, that's the side of their family. Don't neglect them, but not everybody Egyptians, not everybody Sumerian. That's just like not everybody Jamaicans, not everybody Haitians, not everybody African American. But we are all the same people, true indeed.
All right. And it's someone is still online. That's the goddess, right?
Yes.
Yes. Any last words you want to say something?
I mean,
I should have put the goddess first, but I should have did. My apologies.
She tough though. She tough. She got it last because we was always on top of the rules and stuff, but we let the women close out because we know that she's the one gonna be the one ruling and put this planet back in its perspective of what we need to do and get back right.
Right.
That's what I was about to explain. I was he said the tablet. What I came here giving you was that the black woman is God, and I remember Baba said that he's waiting for a sister to step up. I'm under a lot of pressure right now from the supreme beings. My walk has been with them. You know, people ask me how tall are they, what they smell like. I can tell you all of those things. It's been a blessing, and even to this day, you walk in my home, you'll feel the presence of them walking amongst me. You know what I'm saying? What we need to get down to is, like I told James, is everybody has a specific job to do. Know what your job is, master it, and get the job done. Everybody's so busy trying to do the same thing. Everyone wants to be a teacher. Everyone wants to be a lecturer. Some of us are here to be protectors. My job, that's why I represent the scarab. The scarab is my logo. That's what I do. I represent I have a scarab ring that I wear. Everything has to do with the scarab because I'm a protector. Like I tell you, my 8-year garb had the magician, the half moon and the star on it. You know what I'm saying? So I have to master alchemy and all those other things because that's my job. You know what I'm saying? We all have a specific job to do, and we need to do our job and stop debating so much and start start doing things, getting the job done. You know what I'm saying? And we can talk, you know, when it's time to talk, but right now we need to start. It's some things I really need to start having class on, and I'll probably start having them next year. But there's some things that we really need to be getting prepared for. Some events that are about to happen. I knew about the fall of Tamaray a year and a half before it actually happened. I knew about the tablet 6 months before they came out. People were telling me I didn't know what I was talking about because I wasn't in our community. I didn't know what I was talking about, but it was presented to me by Baba himself. And I was asking everybody, I said, well, what is this thick tablet, this thick book he's coming out with? And everybody's like, you don't know what you're talking about, da 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 da. 6 months later, they came up with all the tablets. I don't know why they chose me so much to communicate with me, but it's a blessing, and I give thanks for it anyways. But we've got to get back to our job and stop focusing on free Dr. Malachi Z York. We need to clear his name up, that's it, and move on, because it goes back to Mission Earth. What was the mission? Let's get back on the mission. That's what it boils down to.
Right. Okay.
So get a sidetrack.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I enjoyed everyone. You know, I'm honored that you came on, and we're gonna try to. I'll be looking forward to doing something in the future, and I'm gonna definitely talk to Captain Tazariak and check, you know, see what he has to say. And with that, I will bid you all a wadu, blessings, peace, you know, all that good stuff.
All right, Hotep, peace through the shadow hours.
Hotep, all right.
Wadu.
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 Right. There you have it, folks. Key Life Productions. First time I ever went 3 hours. Hope you enjoyed it. Got a lot of things to do. Got a lot of things to do to raise our people. And, you know, try to raise ourselves back to where we belong. I don't know. No idea where that came from. But anyway, until next time, peace.